thank you all for coming to our virtual Friday college tours. We are so excited to be here today with Leo Espinosa. We are going to start off by watching a quick video about Yale University. On the video, it's actually a group of seniors, so the class of 2020, and they are sharing what they love about their school. After we're done watching the video, we will hear a little bit from Leo, and then we're going to move into question and answers. So please, you should be able to directly chat me if you have a question you would like to ask. So if there's a question you're interested in, you should be able to directly chat me by going to the chat area. So send me the question, and then I will call on people, adults and students, to ask those questions. So Dr. Mack, would you share the video, please?
Yes, and you have some people in the waiting room.
Great.
I really love going to sports games.
I don't know, I just really enjoy talking to the people here.
Honestly, I think my favorite thing about Yale is the people.
I love the college system. I think it is so good for acclimating freshmen.
I think what I love most about Yale has been the opportunity to meet so many amazing people.
The places you can go to just do art, you don't have to pay for any of it. You can go to like the Brantford basement and you can do pottery for hours.
Everyone's nice, but like genuinely nice. Like people actually care about you. People aren't like politicians just like trying to stab you in the back.
How invested the faculty are in each of the students.
I really enjoyed meeting a lot of professors who have really helped me foster what I'm interested in.
I guess the really strong sense of community on this campus.
I think it would definitely have to be the academic life. I'm interested in multiple subjects and I'm allowed to explore all of them.
You know, the performing arts scene is awesome here. I can go to an a cappella show with Shades, or I can go to an improv show.
What I love about Yale is the music culture here. Everything from a cappella to music theater to opera to orchestra.
It's people. Honestly, there's just something about Yale's that's so genuine and caring and really kind.
I guess my favorite thing about Yale is the vibe and energy on campus. The way to walk around and you see all your friends, they're always very excited to see you and they give you hugs.
I really love the master's students. You really amazing people come through campus all the time.
The people.
Yeah, like I guess everyone really cares about you and it's a very welcoming community.
So I would say the people. I think in general, people here are so cool. Anyone's accessible. People are always happy to grab a meal or just get to know you.
I mean, there really isn't one thing I can say I love the most about Yale. It's just like a ton of small things that all add up.
I love the sense of community and my friends here.
I love my sweet mates.
I'm her sweet mate. But I also love the extracurricular groups.
Alright, so Yale has this like vibe going on, and it's just like, it is a great place. People here, they work hard, retweet, they play hard. Let's get that. They are incredible in every shape or form. Every person I meet here, it's like, you have a conversation, it's like, wow, like you're dope, I like you, this is great. And that's why I chose Yale.
All right, at this time, I am going to spotlight Mr. Leo Espinosa, who is our speaker for today. Mr. Espinosa, I'm hoping you can share briefly about your experience in Topeka Public Schools and then your experience attending Yale University. What did you major in? How has that set you up for your career? Just kind of a little bit about yourself would be fantastic. And while he's talking, if you have questions about Yale University or for Leo directly, please chat them to me. So send them to Ms. Risley, please. All right, go ahead, Leo.
Thank you. I actually made a little presentation that I hope we can actually get to work here.
Perfect.
So if you give me a small second, this should work. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, hi everybody. My name is Leo Espinosa. I am a Topeka High graduate from 2013. I graduated from Yale University in 2017. My major was political science. And since then, I have worked at Topeka High actually for 2 years. I worked there up until May of last year. And then after that, I moved to New York City to start a job in consulting. And that's what I've been doing since then. Right now, because of social distancing, I came back home and I'm actually in Topeka. So I'm not too far from all of you here in the city. a little bit about my background. I know we want to really spend most of the time on questions and answers, and so I'm going to kind of breeze through this little presentation that I made for you all very quickly. A little bit about my background. I was very fortunate to have two parents growing up, and my mom always told me that I could do whatever it is I set my mind to do. So I found this little picture of the little boy who could fly, because my mom told me that if I set my mind to do something, I could definitely do it. And what this translated to was essentially that I was just ambitious in school. I wanted to really challenge myself. I wanted to feel like I was growing, learning a lot, becoming a better person, friend, debater, student, whatever it is that I found myself doing, I just wanted to improve. And the thing that I want to say here is that even if you are in Topeka, I know this seems like really far-fetched for some of you, but it doesn't matter where you come from. We're all starting from different places, but we can all choose where we're headed. And my story can be your story. You can go to Yale if you work hard enough, if you devote yourself to your school and to your community. And that's really the message that I want you to take away, is that no matter how far Yale might seem to you or how impossible it might seem for you to get in, I actually never thought I would end up at a school like that. And it just comes to show you that the future is pretty unpredictable, but if you shoot far, you'll get far. I have a lot of different things that happened during high school that I thought were very helpful. So when I talk about shooting for the stars, that means different things for different people. And you have to decide what that means for you. For me, it was being in the AVID program, and that really pushed me to challenge myself and to take harder classes and to get involved in clubs and volunteer in the community. But it can mean different things. It can be sports. It can be starting your own channel on YouTube if you're interested in media and journalism. It can be even being TikTok famous, hopefully for something that you are, adding to your community, or it's something that you're learning more about and want to share with the world. Just make sure that it's something that's challenging you, and make sure that it's something that really is a passion of yours that makes you tick. Here you'll see a picture of me in a debate tournament on a probably Saturday morning or afternoon. It was one of the things that I did in order to challenge myself in high school. There's two quotes that I wanted to share with everybody. One is that it's better to aim high and miss than to aim low and hit. And as you think about what your goals are, I think you should really remember that it's always better to have really big goals and get closer to them than to have really low goals and hit them, but they weren't really challenging goals to begin with. And the other really interesting thing is, like, even if you shoot for the stars and you don't get there, you can shoot for something else that is going to challenge you as well, like the moon, for example. And this is what Neil Armstrong said, who is the first person to go to the moon. Here, when I was thinking about what I wanted in college, there were a few things to consider. One was I definitely didn't want to pay a lot of money. Two was that because my parents didn't go to college, I knew that I would need a lot of support. And so I needed a place that would make me feel supported, where I knew that there were people who could help me when I had questions. I wanted a college feel. And what I mean by that is when you start doing research later on about colleges, there's all different types. Some of them don't even look like college campuses. Some of them look like office buildings. For example, universities that are in bigger cities they blend in with other buildings, and you can't really tell what's a campus and what's not. This is the Yale campus, and I wanted it to feel like a campus. I wanted it to feel like a KU or a K-State, right, where you're walking around and you know what the campus is and you see students, because that's not every school. A would-be nice thing was I was thinking about going further away from home, but it wasn't something that I necessarily wanted for sure. And in fact, when I was deciding on the final two schools, I was deciding between KU actually and Yale, because KU gave me I was accepted into their honors program, and it was an incredible opportunity that I had to consider there. Things that I didn't really care about were like, the university sports, or whether they had traditions or not. And I think you just have to ask yourself, what is it that you most care about? Just three things that I want to mention quickly. College applications are not until your senior year, but to build a good college application, you have to start early. You have to build good relationships with your teachers so that they can write about you as a student and as a person, as a community member in those letters when you ask them 4 years later. For your essays, one just tip that I have, and I know this isn't really relevant, but remember details. You can talk about your trip to wherever you may have gone, Mexico or Texas, but what really sets you apart are when you talk about the details, sensory details as they're called, which are what did you see, what did you feel, what did you hear, what did you touch. Describing those makes the reader remember your application, and it also means that you're likelier to be accepted into universities you apply to. And then for the standardized test scores like the ACT or the SAT, just do your best, study, but after 2 or 3 tries, it's probably worth to focus on other strengths like your essays or your letters of recommendation. That was a very quick introduction into sort of my journey to Yale. And so now I want to leave the last 15 minutes to really answer any questions that anybody has about getting there, being there, leaving. I think you can chat them in.
Great. I am going to actually start with a question that we have from Mone. So we're going to unmute her microphone. Mone, are you able to share?
Hello, my name is Mone Myers-Lewis. I'm a 7th grader at Landon Middle School and a first-year student at college prep. And my question is, what is your major?
I majored in political science. And so that's the study of government, international relations, how countries interact with one another, political science.
What are you studying to become? So why is that your major?
Yeah, so the thing about majors in college is that just because you major in something doesn't mean you're going to have a career in that. There are English majors, people who love to read literature, who end up becoming engineers and chemists. And in the political science degree, the reason why I majored in that was because those were the classes that I enjoyed the most. And those were the professors that I got along with the best too. They were the ones who I had the best conversations with just about, you know, the world and about like my own career plans. And actually what I do now is related to that, because what I'm doing now is helping organizations that work around the world. And so what's happening in the world is very important for them to think about. But it doesn't always have to be that way. You can major in something and then choose to have a career in something completely different.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Espinosa. The next question is going to come from Mahi Hassan.
Good evening. I am a first-year college prep student and I attend French middle school. I was just wondering if you had any advice for us in high school.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say if I was to give you 2 pieces of advice is one, challenge yourself. Figure out what that means for you and challenge yourself, whether it's taking harder classes, whether it's taking on leadership roles in clubs and after school or sports. So one, challenge yourself. 2 is don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. People, especially in this program, for example, are here to support you and are here to help you get further. And people don't know you need help unless you tell someone. And so I can tell you that even though my path so far has looked very successful, I've had a lot of failure. I have had to ask for a lot of help, and I would have never gotten to Yale without help. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And the third one is to always have goals. Always think about what are you working towards? Do you want to get a 4.0 this semester? Do you want to read 20 books in a year? Do you want, always have goals, whether they're small or large. Always make sure you're working towards something, because little goals add up to something bigger. And that's ultimately what's going to help you get to college.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Kyra.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
My question was, What ACT, SAT score did you have to do to qualify for a full ride scholarship to Yale?
So the key is that you don't need a minimum score. There are schools that are called full need financial aid, and there's about 70 or 80 different schools around the country that have full, it's called 100% financial need met. And if you get into those schools, you can get up to 100% of all the expenses paid for by the school. It depends on how much money your family makes. But your ACT score is only part of what they'll consider when they choose to admit you. I ended up getting I actually don't remember what I got. And I think the more important point here is also that the ACT score is not everything. It is only one piece of the application. And if you have a strong letter of recommendation and you have a strong essay and you have a strong work ethic and grades to show that you are committed to your studies and to your work, you can get admitted to a place like Yale with a lower ACT score.
Great, thank you. The next question that somebody sent was asking about the dorms at Yale. What are the dorms like, and is it easy to make friends there?
Yeah, the thing that's really interesting about going to school out of state is that nobody has friends basically, because everyone is leaving from their hometown to go to college. So everyone has to make friends. It's like the only way that you're going to meet people. And so it is very easy to make friends because everyone is on the same boat, right? Everyone else left their homes too in order to go to Yale. And they're called residential colleges. So if I was to show you the picture if you saw the picture of Yale that I showed you, they look like little castles. So one of those is essentially like one dorm. And within those dorms, there's like a dining hall, a gym, a library. And so it's easy for you to meet other people there in your dorm. I think you're on mute.
I'm sorry, thank you. All right, the next question is from Mone again.
Go ahead, Mone.
Okay. How was it like adjusting to the school, since you said everybody's new?
That's a really good question. What you have to always remember, even in high school actually, is that the biggest competition you have is not other people, it's yourself. Is how far are you willing to challenge yourself? How much are you willing to push yourself? You don't become an Olympic gold medalist, for example, by not challenging yourself. And you also don't get into college without challenging yourself. And so what you really have to adjust to is to not always compare yourself to other people, especially because at a place like Yale, I did debate, for example, in high school, but I was nowhere near as good as other people. And some of the national champions, I ended up being my classmates.
Wow.
But that just comes to show you that you don't necessarily have to be the best in something to get into a school like Yale. You just have to push yourself to the best of your ability. And I think I pushed myself a lot in debate. And I think Yale ended up seeing that. And I think that's why they ultimately admitted me. But I think that's probably the biggest challenge. And then the other challenge is just managing your time, because in college, no one tells you what to do. Like, you could choose not to go to classes if you don't want to, but the only one that's going to be getting behind is you, right? Like, the professors they don't need you in class. They just give the class for whoever's there. And if you're not there, then good luck to you when the test comes. So I think it's just having the discipline of like doing what you need to do and not like going to hang out at a friend's dorm or like, going to get pizza instead of studying. So just managing your time.
Great, thank you. The next question is from Addison Franklin.
Hi, my name's Addison, as you've just heard. I was wondering who your favorite professor was and why.
Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me this. I probably have one professor who I just got along with because she challenged me to be even more, to take leaps of faith. It's funny because students end up going to places like Yale, but then they end up like just going into things that are safe, that they don't really have to take a risk, like becoming lawyers or becoming doctors or becoming engineers. And she was like, you guys are all Yaleys. Like, you guys have a connection of people to help you get up if you fail. You guys should all be taking more risks. Start your own businesses. Go back home. Help your communities. Do other things later. You have like your whole life ahead of you. And she's the one who encouraged me to like come back home and like give back here for a while. And then while I figured it out, do something afterward. But she just pushed me in a new direction. And I'm still in touch with her, actually.
The next question is, what was one of the biggest challenges that you faced in at Yale, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so besides challenging yourself, like learning to not compare yourself to other people and managing your time, I would say the other thing is that just college isn't easy. You just have to ask for help. And that can be intimidating because at Yale, you are classmates with brilliant people. I'm talking like people who are like Einstein level smart. And at the end of the day, though, they're just sometimes as confused as you are about things that you guys are learning in class. So you have to be willing to like, hey, can we set up time to like study together? And maybe you can teach me things that you understand and I can teach you things that I understand. But asking for help is, I mean, even adults have challenge with that, right? Like sometimes our parents don't want to ask for help even if they need help. And I think that's just something that you have to continually learn and remind yourself that it's important to do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions coming up here? Okay, well, I know that Mr. Leo Espinosa said he had to get back to work at 1:30, so that actually works out great. Leo, thank you so much for coming today. Do you have any other closing bits of advice or anything else you want to share before we close off today?
No, thank you so much for having me. And like I said, you all have everything you need within you to get to places like Yale. The only thing that you need to do is apply yourself to the right places. Focus on your school, focus on clubs, focus on sports, and don't let distractions lead you away from that path. And if you shoot for the stars, trust me, you will get very far.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Well, as you know, we are doing these Fridays at 1 p.m. You are always welcome. There are a ton of great YouTube videos about Yale University as well, if you'd like to see the campus more in depth. Otherwise, we will see you next Friday at 1. And thank you, Leo. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.